There's a fair bit to go, but I'll just show you a couple of things. One of those is the HPolish. So we're sort of getting into the start of sculpting tools here. Now you'll see on the side view here that we've got that cut, and before I just did a nice clip curve cut, but this time we're just going to use the HPolish, which is the lazy man's version. Take that off, and roughly from the right angle you can just start to really it's sort of like the flatten brush. You can think of this almost like a flatten brush. Just redoing that again, getting that roughly in the right place, and you can see how much of a really nice job that's doing there. Really, this is like magic. Some people call ZBrush a little bit like sculpting in butter, and I tend to agree. It's just such a nice way of working. So you can sort of work down that area a little bit more. Come to that side view and you can sort of see that we're getting close to that. Now this is not cutting, this is simply pushing those points. So if you look at that mesh, it is just pushing all these points together. So we have a lot of polys there, all close together. But that's kind of good enough for a quick result, and that's all we sort of need in this case. So I'm just going to smooth that out a little bit. And even if that's not totally perfect, you'd be surprised what you can do just by a bit of move brush and just sort of hamming that together. Now I probably could have gone a bit further there, but I just wanted to show you there's lots of ways to skin a cat in ZBrush. There's so many, and it really gives you a lot of freedom to come up with your own workflows and whatnot. But I found that way to be a really killer way of working. Now, just in regards to the horns here, there's numerous ways we could do this as well. Now, because we're at a low level of Dynamesh here, let's just go back to that higher level, so 128. Now, this is a destructive workflow, by the way, when we're going forwards and backwards between Dynamesh, and every time you read Dynamesh, you're going to lose small details. So I'm just working with big forms here. That is worth mentioning at this stage. And I'm going to come into that top view. I'm just going to mask roughly where those horns should go. Something like that. I'm inverted that already. And now we want to just come back in to perspective mode, hit the P, Shift F. I'm putting Shift F on a lot, but I wouldn't be doing this ordinarily. It's just sort of to show you guys what that mesh is looking like. I think coming from Maya is really great to ZBrush because you're really familiar with geometry and meshes and things like that. So here we got this guy here. Now all you have to do is you could just be super lazy and pull that up. So I'm going to be in the side view here, just pull that up and then smooth it. Okay, so there's like totally these are super easy ways of doing that. And then from that side view you can move that. From the front we need to be out of perspective mode. You can grab that and move it over. Smooth it down. Now I haven't been super accurate here, but you can sort of see just by using the pure move tool with a bit of smooth and mask, that has worked extremely well. Now there's other ways that you could do that. I'm just going to take that back. One of those is, even if you don't have that on, I quite like, and this is more for hair and things like that, but you can use the snake hook brush. And snake hook brush does this sort of magical pulling out horns. Now it eventually loses resolution, as you can see there, but if you smooth them out, you can get these nice interesting sort of horn effects very easily. And then with a bit of move you can get branches and bits of hair and things like that quite easily. So I like just showing that snake hook there. That is that guy there, but the move one's fine. You've also got inflate brushes. You got a whole bunch of stuff that you could use there. So let's just go back to the top view, and I'm going really slowly here, but you can imagine that it really only takes a few minutes to rough out a form like this. It doesn't take much time at all. So invert, bring that out, smooth it, come to the front view, smooth it. There we go, bring that up. So the smooth has a sort of a tendency to making points. There we go, it's a bit fat. My mask was a bit off, but I'm just going to sort of leave it there. It's a bit fat, it's not perfect. Yeah, so a lot of the technique is like overdo it a bit and then smooth it back. It's the same as the way that you would do it in Maya too. So there you go. Now that mesh has gotten quite sparse because the Dynamesh hasn't kicked in there. So what you can do is just do another Dynamesh, and that will sort of reiterate that area. But remembering that Dynamesh is destructive, so we are losing detail.